Hi guys, it's Mrs. Ippolito. I am continuing on page 6 of our chemical reactions packet. I am doing the chunking method to balance our equations. So here I am on number 2. I'm looking that we have 1 mg on this side, we have 1 mg on this side, but we have 2 oxygens here, and we only have 1 oxygen here. So what do I need to do? I need to add an O. Now, can I add just an O? Nope, I have to add the whole chunk. So I have to add an MgO. So now I have 2 oxygens, but when I did that, I also now have 2 Mgs. So I've got to go on this side and I've got to add my Mg. So now I've got 2 magnesium, 2 magnesium, 2 oxygen, 2 oxygen. So now I'm going to put my coefficients in. Remember, that's the big number that goes before. I've got 2 magnesiums. I've got 1 O2. And I've got 2 MgOs, and now that equation is balanced. So now we're going to go to number 3. I've got 1 calcium on this side and 1 calcium on this side. I've got 2 hydrogens on this side, but remember I've got to distribute my 2 in, so I've got 2, 3, 4 O's. So I'm sorry, 4 hydrogens. So now I'm going to add an H2O. So I've added an H2O, and now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogens, and 1, 2, 3, 4 hydrogens, and I've got 1, 2 O's. Remember, we distribute this 2, it goes both to the O and to the H, and so now I am balanced. I've got 1 Ca and 1 Ca, so I can put a 1 in front of those, and I've got 2 chunks of H2O, and I've got 1 chunk of the H2 at the end. So now I am balanced. Now let's go to number 4. I've got a copper on this side and a copper on this side. And I've got mercury on this side and a mercury on this side. I've got NO3. I have 1 chunk of the NO3, but I have 2 chunks of the NO3 on this side. So what do I need to do? I need to add an HgNO3. So now I have 2 chunks of NO3 and 2 chunks of NO3. But when I did that, I added 2 mercuries. So I have to add a second one. So now I've got 2, 2 of those, 2 of those. And I can keep my 1 copper, and I am balanced. So I've got my 1 here. My coefficient is 1. My coefficient is 2. My coefficient is 1, and my coefficient is 2. And that is a balanced equation number 4. Okay, now we're going to go to number 5. I've got 3 carbons on this side, and I have 1 carbon on that side. So what am I going to need to do? I'm going to need to add 2 more CO2s. Now I've got 1, 2, 3 carbons and 1, 2, 3 carbons, and I have 8 H's. Now over here I only have 2 H's, but as I add each chunk, remember that you're going to count by 2's. So I've got 2 H's, 4, 6, 8. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hydrogens. So now my carbons are balanced. And my hydrogens are balanced, but now I've got to balance my O's, my oxygen. So I've got 2 on this side. Let's see how many I have on this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do you see these oxygens I'm counting by 2's because they're O2's. These oxygens I'm counting single because there's no subscript on them. So again, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So now I'm going to add my coefficients in. I've got 1 C3H8. I've got 5 O2s. I've got 3 CO2s. And I've got 4 H2Os. And now I am balanced. Okay, now I'm going to move on to number 6. I've got an Al on this side, and I've got 1 Al on this side. I've got F2 on this side, but I have F3 on this side. So what do I need to do to balance? So I'm going to have to, remember when we have the 2 3s, you have to add more than once. So in this case, if I'd add an F2, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. But now I'm still not balanced. So then I'd go back over here and I'd add an ALF3. And now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And over here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm balanced. And then when I did that, I had to add 1, 2 ALs. So I'm going to add another AL here. So we go back and check. I've got 1, 2 ALs, 1, 2 ALs. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Fs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Fs. I am balanced. I'm going to write my coefficients in. 2 for aluminum, 3 for F2s, and I've got 2 of my ALF3s. Okay, now I'm going to move number 7. I'm going to start with my F. So I've got 1 F here. I'm sorry, F. I got 1 iron, 1 Fe here, and 2 Fe's here. So I'm going to add 1 here. So now I've got 2 irons and 2 irons. But now when I look at my oxygen, I got 2 oxygens here, but I have 3 oxygens here. So again, just like this one where we had the 2-3 combination, we're going to have to add again. So first I start with adding an O2. But now I've got 4, but this side's got 3. So I'm still going to have to add another one. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 oxygens. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So now I need to add 2 more. So again, remember you're counting using your subscripts. So I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then when I did that, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 irons, Fe's, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I am balanced. So how many Fe's do I have? Again, I count the original 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 2. And then I am balanced. And that finishes it for page 6.